Hello there. I'll begin this one by saying it was a very good day instead of ending with that. I guess because it's top of mind for me at the moment that it was a very good day. Started out with a couple of hours at church this morning. We're organizing a couple of covenant groups around the topic of meditation. And it's something I'm really looking forward to. It's something I'm doing purely for me. There are the things that I do that I've done for a long time. And then there's the part of me that wants to try new things and even feels very comfortable exploring those new things with others. Especially considering the median age of my church is mostly senior. Others have tried a lot of things I haven't tried. Some of the discussions I had, kind of sideways discussions after our gathering, led me to understand that there's a lot of things I can learn from those who will be in these covenant groups. It's a popular subject. They thought they were going to set up one covenant group, but it's going to be two. So I'm looking forward to that. It looks like I have Friday mornings now to look forward to once a month as my meditation covenant group. I'm probably going to become part of 3, maybe 4 covenant groups because they're a really important part of being in community for me. A chance to get to know, 10 or so. And no surprise that I'd be comfortable in a group that runs from 10 to 13. Since that's the circle size I've dealt with most of my adult life. So I'm looking forward to that. And the way we did it this time, which doesn't mean it's the way it's going to be the next time I get together in the smaller group that I have joined, we'll be deciding what we want to do as a group when we get together for the first time. But this time, in this larger group, we talked about what a covenant was in a group and how one would consider conducting oneself. And then we mentioned several different kinds of meditations, and we're going to investigate a lot more together. And then we did a rather simple meditation, which is we were asked to go to one of the places that brings us the greatest joy, the greatest sense of peace, that has a memory or something attached to it that just makes us feel at home there, even though it's not a physical place that we can go to. And it was mentioned, perhaps that place is a place that you imagine in your mind. For those of you who've done Seeker with me, I thought about doing a meditation then, to go to my spiritual landscape, the same one I've coached you to explore on your own. And I felt like I didn't want to do that in that environment. That still needed to be something that was private and something I do when it's only me and I'm not surrounded by the energy of others. So instead, I took myself to a meditation point on a cliff that I visited in person in Oregon on the Pacific coast. And it was a climb up this cliff. I was all by myself. It was a pretty steep climb. Got to the top, and it came out as a promontory, almost like the bow of a ship. And in the V at the front of it, there was a natural curve in rock that when you sat there, you were probably 200 feet, I guess, at least 100 feet above the ocean. And you had the feeling of the rock surrounding you this way and then even back here. The effect was that every sound around you was echoing and magnified in this cup that you actually sat in. And I go back to that place often in my meditations. One reason I like to do it is different things can happen when I go there. You couldn't see the waves as they hit the beach there. You were too far up. You didn't have an angle where you could see them landing on the shore, but you could see them out, and you could hear them crashing against the rocks at the base of the cliff. And of course the seagulls. and seals. There was a seal rock very close to this place. And the wind. And the way this was set, it was just you and the sky and the air around you. So what I like about going to that place in meditation, sometimes it's about the sound of the pounding surf below me. Sometimes it's about the wind buffering around me, or hearing the animals. There's even been times when it's about hearing people on the shore below me. Whether I can hear distinct words or not, it's often felt that I'm hearing the voices, if not the words, of departed loved ones. So I went there today in this meditation. We did it for 20 minutes only, which in a mixed group, when you know there's people around you, 20 minutes, it's interesting to hold your centering in meditation when there's that many people around you for that length of time. Today was all about being one with the wind and the air. And I think what helped is it was windy, and I could hear against the walls of the church. And the sun kept going in and out of bright blue sky today, but there were big, big puffy white clouds that would come by every now and then. So the light kept changing and going back and forth. So if I closed my eyes, I heard wind, and I felt the changing of the light coming and going. And I was so there. I was so there. It was a great meditation. A bit unusual for me to be able to do that deep of a release into meditation when I'm surrounded by 16 or 17 other people. It was indeed partly due to the energy of this particular group of people. I guess you can assume if you get 20 people together that are interested in meditation, we might have a certain mindset, a certain demeanor perhaps. We're certainly, if not, at least seeking calmness and serenity, a sense of peace and centering. So without words, you know there's certain things you have in common. It was a beautiful experience. And the way they did it was at the end of the meditation, they passed this talking stick. You spoke if you felt like it. You passed it on if you did not. To share in as brief a message as possible what you returned with from your time away. I really enjoyed it. It was no cross-talk permitted. So whoever was talking was in that moment the person everyone else was present to. And I loved being able to be that present to others as they shared something that was deeply personal, what they took from their meditations. And we all went different places, we all experienced different things in different ways. But the shifting of the light in the room with the bright sun and then going behind cloud for a moment, coming back out to a bright sun, was something we, almost to a person, ended up becoming part of our meditations. For some it became a dance. For some it became a field of grass waving in the wind or flowers. For one it was a swirling of colors that every time the sun and the shade would shift and change, she saw different patterns of colors. And did I mention that someone heard music that shifted according to the lightness of the darkness? Really very pleasant experience. Unusual for me in a group to experience something that way. Certainly leads me to be curious about what might come of our Meditation Covenant group. I'll find out when I go to my first one next month for my group of 7 or 8 that'll come out of that. Afterwards, I wanted to go down and take that. What I didn't want to do was, after a very calming experience like that, to get in my car and drive to come home. Even though the drive back from church is beautiful. Instead, I bundled up because it was cold and went down to the pond that our church sits on the edge of, just to be with it. It's a very beautiful and very peaceful place. And I do have video that I'm going to show you of that. And if I had any success with it, one of the reasons I wanted to be there was to and I would come back from the meditation and be in a peaceful place before I did something as mundane as drive off in the car. And the other is, when I was there on Sunday, I mentioned to you I saw a swan, or what I was pretty sure was a swan, and I wanted to see if it was still there, and indeed I did see it. Unfortunately, on the other side of the pond, I don't know if I ever captured it on film. I tried, but I don't know if I have a success on that. It's captured in this film, though. What a beautiful, beautiful creature. And then the evening, then the afternoon passed nicely. I was journaling about my meditation experience and some of my expectations and even concerns about being part of a meditation group going forward. I read some dumb, silly book for a while, and then we get a phone call from friends. Her birthday's tomorrow, and she's having a birthday weekend. And tomorrow going out with her family, and they wanted to go out with us tonight if we were available. Well, we were available at the drop of the hat. In this case, we went to dinner, and then we drove into town, and we had a drink together at a local bar. An awful nice evening out with friends. Just, it was a wonderful day. So, I gratefully sign off for the evening, and I'll add a tiny moment or two from the beautiful day that's just passed. It was a good one.